Sustainability is always mistaken for climate change and planet. It's not.
Today I'm very thrilled to have Sridhar NE. He's the Vice President and the Chief Sustainability Officer of Titan. What motivated you to do this? Like, what's in it for you?
Nothing. It's community. Typical start-off mindset of everybody is to give those funds for relief work, clothes and maybe temporary, all those things. This makes no sense. How do we put them back on track? That's one definition of sustainability. My passion lies in understanding the subject. If somebody comes back, takes a MIS report of your Mindspark and presents to me as impact, I will rip him apart. A conversation in the boardroom means nothing. If you don't feel the environment, everything else becomes PowerPoint presentations.
Welcome to EI Dialogues. Hello and welcome to EI Dialogues. EI Dialogues is our endeavor to bring long-form conversations to people who are interested in knowing about the details of when, where, what, how things have happened, things have scaled, to hear it from the protagonist who has been instrumental at this. My name is Pranav Kothari. I'm the CEO of Educational Initiatives. Our vision is to see a world where children everywhere are learning with understanding. We do this by making diagnostic assessments and an adaptive learning software that improves the quality of learning for all students. Today I'm very thrilled to have Sridhar NE join the EI Dialogues episode. He's the Vice President and the Chief Sustainability Officer of Titan, a company we all know and love. With Sridhar, I'm curious to know about how does he think about CSR? What's his criteria for selecting projects? What does he think about local versus pan-India in terms of the geographical side? What is his view in terms of impact? How to measure it? What to measure? Who should measure it? And I'm also want to understand the juxtaposition between the government, the corporate, and the implementing organization, the NGO, in terms of what role each has to play, who's accountable for what, when things go well, who gets celebrated, and how does this partnership work. I'm also wanting to know how can corporates or organizations generally collaborate more with their peers. So all of this in the upcoming episode. Thank you so much for coming, Sridhar. I really appreciate it. Welcome to EI Dialogues.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Before I talk about my journey, and I want to share one instance and one story. It's an instance, it's not a story. It's an instance which, and you will be wondering why I said this. Before I talk about my journey. When the COVID happened, first wave, Titan had kicked off the Titan Kanya Girl Child Education Program in Tiruvannamalai. We were in Krishnagiri for 7 years, 8 years, and we moved on to Tiruvannamalai with the same partner. And when the COVID happened, everything got shut. Schools got shut. Nothing was moving. Talking about the first wave.
Yeah.
What happened at that point of time was every company was waiting to and make sure that all the CSR money is just given off to COVID and then be done with it and not worry about anything else, so that they don't need to worry about which NGO what. I know plenty of NGOs fell by the wayside because those people who are relying on support for multiple years suddenly realized, no, I can't give you, I have to give to COVID, rightly so, for whatever reasons. Yes. So in this whole education program in Tiruvannamalai, we persisted with the board and the board of Titan, the committee of Titan of CSR. When we presented our own annual plans at that point of time, we presented it virtually actually. And, we said, first thing we said, we don't want to compromise a single NGO partner. We are a Tata company, COVID or no COVID, every single partner will support to the hilt and not change anything. Teachers will be paid salaries, just like the way we are paid salaries. And what happened? The board said, I think you should just not do that. You should in fact go to your community and ring fence them because of COVID. And that's what is more important. So if need be, we'll give you more money for your CSR this year.
That's wonderfully kind.
So what now we'll hear is more important. So what happened is that in Tiruvannamalai, and when we went to this community where we had about 126 schools with the partner who was working with us, just started that year. And we told all our partner staff to go to the field, go to house, figure out what they need. And the first wave was all about medicines and food and migration. So all about that. The second wave was all about hospital and oxygen. So we went there, and they went diligently. They went all over the place, in Kadalur, in Tirunamalai, in Shangam, and they made sure the families got the ration. We got additional budgets from CSR and all those things. Schools were not open, children were not there. So what we did was we went to the house of parents, and in some places this was happening in schools, government schools, the program, Kanya program, and the parents wholeheartedly welcomed us, saying that schools are not open, but we will open the doors for you. Come and run the programs for us.
Learning should not stop.
Learning should not stop for two reasons. You helped us in bad times, and we want our children to continue education, and we don't want to stop them. And at that point in time was our kickoff phase, and Mindspark came to Titan. So thanks to Mindspark, people and the children enjoyed that period, even when the schools were not open. And that what is the power of when you embrace the community, not just with what you want to do, but when you look at them as a community and not because you're bringing in education. That I still get goosebumps when I tell the story. They all said, we will send our children to school, and they gave it in writing. I'm going to send to school. Even the schools were not open, but the classes with Mindspark was open in Tirunamalai. So thanks to you, thanks to the team who relentlessly worked, my partners who worked to make sure it happens.
And I think it's good that parents who are deeply concerned about their children.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody, my board, my management, my team, my partners, all of you were there to make this happen. I keep telling this story in every forum because this is the power of being together and creating solutions and not products. Products will take you up a certain distance.
Yes.
Just thought of giving you the story because it's a very powerful story, and EI was there in that first year of our implementation in Tirunamalai.
And thank you for sharing. I think COVID...
Mindspark was there, people loved it, children loved it.
No,
COVID did some wonderful things.
No, thank you for sharing. And I think COVID did sort of close schools in India for about 2 years. And the fact that, you reached out to people in their homes, in their communities, and the power of even that collective, where, of course, life and threats to life are dominant, but even in the midst of that, for parents to also realize that the ultimate pathway out of poverty is through education. And the fact that you had a good reputation, you had built that social equity with the parents.
We all did together.
Yeah.
It's not that it's about Titan. All of us came together and then said, we'll do it. If I go back to my own story, I'm actually a mechanical engineer, and to make matters worse, I'm a postgraduate in statistics and operation research.
Deadly combination.
A totally deadly combination. I joined Titan 33 years back. I joined in R&D. I said, let's work with people. Then after 6-7 years in HR, a lot of things we did explore and many things. There, my MD said, why don't we create something futuristic? We'll create a department called Sustainability, 2012-13. I mean, it was just about hardly spoken those days. Then he said, let's do a few things around that. Why don't you come and why don't you lead that? Then the conversation was like this. If I'm in HR, at the most I can serve about 10,000 people who are my company employees, maybe another 10,000, 20,000. But the subject of sustainability in CSR is the world minus 20,000.
How do you define sustainability? What does that word unpack for you?
If I were to take 2-3 aspects of it, and I'll answer your question on sustainability, because sustainability is actually more recent in the conversations, and sustainability is always mistaken for climate change and planet. It is not. It is only one part of it. When we started this, 2012, the National Geographic carried a story on the very poor state of girl child in the country, multiple stories, and it was all over the place. My MD called and said, let's start somewhere, let's start educating the girl child. We just took a call. We didn't have a research, we didn't have some, multiple people making presentations. So we called some of the 2 well-known people, we asked them to come and talk to us. So we said, both of you start the work. We just started working. Right. Passionate people, worked with them, we plug and play, let's move on. So essentially, if you look today, our own entire portfolio on CSR has 3 large parts. One is the part about the educating girl child largely. The second is the part about skilling the underprivileged. The third one is a part about revival of arts and crafts. Now, how these three themes emerged? It is not because we called in some mega people to do a research and a survey and give us some strategy and all those things. A board said, figure out. So we all sat together and then we discussed and then said, why girl child? Titan innately. Many people keep asking, what is the business connect of your CSR? I said, why should we have a business connect? But a beautiful answer my MD gave. My company business, 80% of my business, 90% is Tanishq. It's about women. Okay? And in watches, 50-60% is about girl child.
Right.
Okay? So essentially, when my business, more than 90% of them is about women and girl child, the subject innately excites us.
Correct.
So we do. Not just because that girl child in Tiruvannamalai whom we taught artificial intelligence and computers and mind sparks, she will join Titan. We don't even want to think about it. Now that's the connect. My passion lies in understanding the subject. And it will be forever. Skilling. My product is all about skills. Watchmaking, eye care. And said that subject resonates with us. We started with factories, we started with products, we didn't start with retail. They said, why don't we skill people to make them economically independent?
Right.
Therefore, skilling became a large part of my portfolio. Arts and crafts. Jewelry is about craftsmanship. Watch is about craftsmanship. That naturally comes to us as an organization in terms of what we wish to do in the subject. So that's the connect for us in business.
Yeah.
Now, you will not find this explanation in too many companies because they'll somehow find ways and means to do, okay, training, are you doing retail training? I said, why I should do retail training? I should do training and skilling for people who probably need a job in a farm and a non-farm based skill which is required in the remotest village. That's community connect. That's understanding the community. That's how this whole thing developed over a period of time. And in the last 3 or 4 years, especially when the subject of climate change has become so intense, the conversations has been coming around saying, how are we plugging in more and more of planet into the way we look at community around us? Community around us, now the definition is people and planet. It's just not about human beings. And I think that conversations is something which we are tapping into and creating something around that. And therefore, the definition of sustainability, people keep talking about, you are doing a CSR program. What is sustainability about that? Every seminar, one subject has to be on sustainability, one subject has to be on impact, and one subject has to be on technology and digital. Right. If some seminar on CSR is not having these three, then and there will be some 6 known suspects. So one of them will be myself in that, and speaking the same stuff all over. Point here is, we have never conversed and figured out what it means in the real sense. I'm pausing here to understand, what do you want to know about sustainability? Is it about CSR? Is it about sustainability about planet? Is it about sustainability about the way we deal with the subject?
So I think what I heard so far is, one, the power of the community, right? When you go on the field and you travel so often to the stakeholders that you work with, and harnessing and making them partners in this journey. Every parent is a partner in their child's education, even if the school, even if other activities are there. So when you go and travel, how do you think about sustainability? How do you think about this, the word itself? What are those insights that you have found when you've listened to the people on the ground? What does sustainability mean to them? You are the Chief Sustainability Officer. How is that role defined? So that is the...
Are you talking about sustainability from the point of view of a program or a project? Or are you talking about sustainability from the point of view of what is being spoken about climate change and planet and the world around us? Which is the one you're seeking a response to?
The pieces around the program sustainability, how does it, let's say, sometimes CSR call it an exit plan. Sometimes people say, how will this continue even when we leave?
I got it. You got the usual suspect questions, right?
Yes.
I thought as much so. Please understand one thing, okay? A conversation in the boardroom means nothing, okay? If you don't know the pulse of what's happening around, whatever high-fi designation you have, qualification you have means nothing. If you're giving me a choice, I would have said, come with me to Tiruvannamalai and have this interview there. Or come with me to the tribal school in Mysore and let's have this chat over there. Right. Because you will feel the environment. Yes. Please listen carefully. You will feel the environment. If you don't feel the environment and experience, everything else becomes PowerPoint presentations.
Correct. You need to have a lived experience.
Point number one. Okay, I was in Mysore last Saturday, just before this Saturday, because the students are writing class and exam this onwards. I went there only to meet and discuss with the children, progress and everything, wish them well, spent, not Mysore, it's far away, Hosarli, Sargur, it's about 80 kilometers away in the tribal forests. Essentially, when you look at programs and sustainability, there are multiple dimensions, okay? Give me any example of any program where it stands on its own after 5 years. Very tough. You must be very clear that what is your destination. Is your destination saying that I want to blow up my CSR money? Nothing wrong about it. Some people have one-time grants and things, nothing wrong. Every NGO needs money. In India, lakhs and lakhs of NGOs and partners in any sector, be it education or skilling or anything, they all need money to survive. Just take let's say an old age home somewhere in Indiranagar, okay? You think that old age home will become sustainable? Can never. Unless you put some 20 crores corpus which will give you, constant money, but who will put that? CSR Act will give you 100 reasons how not to give money. Or you will define it that way. Then you have to depend on philanthropy money.
Yes. And that's okay, right?
That's okay.
Yeah.
That is the first mindset people have to change.
But why do people have this? Like, why do they feel there has to be?
That's because, I'm sorry to say, but many people, some of my counterparts, have this familiar excuse saying that, but my board wants to know what is your exit plan. My board wants to know how do you define sustainability for this project and program.
And what's motivating that board to ask this question? What's prompting them?
It's actually the demotivator of the CSR people. They are unable to convince the board saying that we have to stay in certain types of programs for as long as we can, and how much it will create difference. If you take education, there's a definition. If you want to take skilling, there's a definition. If you want to take, let's say, village development, there's a definition. I'll give an extreme example what we have created, sustainability. And that comes in multiple angles, okay? And I'll give you examples where we will never become sustainable. The minute you plug out, it stops. Simple, okay? In Uttarakhand, we are doing a large program we call Integrated Village Development Program. Our partner is Tata Trusts. And we started this as a resultant of a catastrophe happened in 2014. It's now 8 years, 9 years. We are in the second phase. So the usual typical start-off mindset of everybody is to give those funds for relief work and all the stuff, close and maybe temporary, all those things. Then after that, but we decided after the first two conversations, we said, no, this makes no sense. How do we put them back on track? That's one definition of sustainability.
Yeah.
Okay? So we worked hard, we decided along with the partner solutions on what it means. The partner said, no, but some of these things require 5 to 7 years or so. I said, it's okay. But then CSR Rule Act, I said, don't worry about that. It's for us to get convinced first. Yes. Go back and tell our board that this program, our board had some wonderful people who were supporting us. They don't question us on, things like, why did you give money here or not? They question us on the thinking. Yes. They said, yes, any development work in a development sector needs time. Yeah. Go ahead and then do it. Don't worry, we'll figure out how to respond to the law, not breaking the law. So we did that. We found out how to do that. So we have been 8 years working there, still keeping our annual budgets. Yes. Okay. Now, that whole design has been done in 3 parts. One is the community's engagement, putting their stake.
Yeah, skin in the game. Yeah.
Skin in the game. Government putting the stake. Yeah. And as a partner and supporting partner, we putting a stake in that. And we deciding a strategy. Yeah. We are now into first phase of 26 villages. Now we are about 67 villages.
And would you say just continuity and the reliability sort of has disproportionate
phase
returns?
Phase 1, I'm telling you, there are 1,600 women in self-help groups who have created their cooperative, their federation. They are doing profits now. Right. Amazing. We are off. Yeah. We are just giving some knowledge support here and there, and everything is manual, no technology, nothing. Beautiful run. Now to think through and design those things. Now you may want to call it a sustainability. You may want to call it as self-sustained programs and things like that. But the thinking process has to happen from the CSR heads and well-meaning partners. Yeah. Partners, CSR heads, and I think of myself, we have a vision, we have a thought process. Like I said, all the 3 headings are my vision and thought process. Yeah. It is not that I have a number to say that ASA report said this, I am going to now increase the, no, I don't even think I'll even get anywhere near that.
Yeah. And it's okay to have some things that are recurring, right? For example, in a school system, I think of the midday meal as one of those things where, regardless of who pays for it, it's something that you need for the foreseeable future, or uniforms. But I do sort of face resistance, even let's say when I'm talking about MindSpark as a learning software. They kind of feel this innate need of asking, okay, after 3 years, how can this sustain on? But it's one of those things you need every day, just like a midday meal or a textbook.
That's the whole challenge, Pranav. And I got a little bit of input from my own colleague while coming on the way. How did this get placed? We never knew you, okay? Somewhere I linked you, I don't LinkedIn, or somewhere I wrote to you, and then we came, irrespective of that, MindSpark was going on with a partner. I don't want to name the partners for want of whatever it is. Essentially, when you pitched it as a software and a product which is going to do something, there are two types of technology, what I look at it, okay? One, technology is the way you learn. Technology is part and parcel. If AI is sitting on one end, is the way you live and breathe, okay? My supply chain runs because of that. Second is technology purely as an enabler of a device. Either it helps you to communicate or it helps you to do things faster, better. Now, somewhere this dilemma still is in my mind. Where did technologies, including yours, are ending up with? Okay, one point. Second is, and this example, your colleague Siri was there. You were there in that school, right, Siri? The response of the teacher, when we were discussing with the teachers, they were mentioning about MindSpark, and they said it was a very good tool, and we realized that where each children, when I saw that it was learned, my immediate question was to ask the teacher, what did it do to you as a teacher? Right. Even till now, I don't have an answer. You learned. I learned that software to teach you, or you learned. What did I learn? Are we missing a piece? Yeah. Are we trying to say that this is for you, we will teach you how to do that because I will learn it and teach you. But there are 45 teachers in that school. What is MindSpark for them?
And so one important component that an intervention or technology should do is actually look at all stakeholders: the student, the teacher, the parents, the principal.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Don't
yeah. Sorry, I'm stealing your
No, you'll get very funny answers also. So that is one part.
Yes.
Okay. And therefore, just about telling my colleague when I was coming here, I said, you have to insist this. Come what may. If EI is not going to do it, we are going to make them do it. But do this, not 45. If I take all the schools, we have 200 teachers. It's a wealth for us. That capacity, if you build, then you can probably make that 3 years, 4 years, maybe 5 years, maybe 3.5 years. Yeah. That's how you probably move out. Probably. I don't know whether it will reach there. Second point is also, the reluctancy also comes in many times from the implementing partner, okay? Not in as much as schools or whatever it is. Because, we are so much used to freebies in schools, people will welcome anything. Okay, implementing partners have their own choice and the ways to communicate, deal with subjects like education. Whether it is a TLM on one side, or whether it is, in Anganwadi, the way they do the play schools or whatever it is, or very high sounding words like, life skills and adolescence and things like that. The way of doing this, how much of this, and therefore specifically to your product, how much of this adaptability can we bring in? We have had conversation on this with your team. Okay? Now that's the second point, and we have been doing this with all the partners, a lot of reluctance. But it is doable. It is not some great, rocket science that, it is not doable. So is there something that this will actually excite the next layer and the next layer and the next layer and the teacher layer to say, hey, look, this is a solution, as opposed to, let's say we have a tab and they will get excited. Children will get excited with technology, no doubt on that. But can we move the needle over there? Here, you're paying attention to every child, like you have done in your MindSpark, to see what else will build in. Now, for example, does it give 15 minutes playtime for the kids anytime during the learning periods? Children have to play. Yes. Okay? Does it bring in other aspects of what they normally a child would like to be as part of a childhood growing up? I'm just throwing open something I have not seen this. I'm just saying there could be some elements of this when you do. Probably it won't be seen as a technology anymore. It will not be seen as a gadget anymore, but it will be seen something as an integral part of their life. I remember this in COVID times, we gave it to them to take it home.
Yes.
They took it home.
And that creates a trusting environment, and we know that, like,
Of course.
there's a lot of intrinsic
Parents said,
motivation.
we'll take care of it. What's your problem?
Yes, and there's a lot of intrinsic motivation among students to
So I think
continue learning.
this, in a way, one is what it does in terms of the content. Second is also when you watch and observe the life cycle of a child in a school environment, what all she does, and just candid watching, it'll probably give you many, many ideas of what else can be brought in. Not just one is the tab and MindSpark as a part of it, but there are augmenters around that, which as an organization you can help build with the partners whom we work with. If with this a partner whom you are working with, Tiruvannamalai, who is doing this and implementing us through them, some of these things will augment them to make their job better.
That's right.
Power of observation will be extremely good.
And I feel like when we go on the ground and observe, but also listen in stakeholder interviews, a lot of the solutions lie in the community, right? Because they best understand what challenges they're facing. Of course, an external perspective helps.
Children will give you better solutions.
Yes, yes. Like, have you sort of come across more examples where what you've learned from the field has influenced decisions that you've taken in the boardroom in terms of where the CSR or sustainability sort of goes?
Okay. I'll speak for myself and my team, okay?
Yes.
And I'm not very popular on some of these things with my team, and it's okay not to be popular. You don't want to be popular. Anybody who joins my team, I said, look, they all join in corporate, whatever, etc. We have some 10, 15 people. I said, look, the job of CSR and sustainability people should be in the field.
Yes.
Okay? 80% of your time should be in the field. सुबह से सवेरे तक का कंप्यूटर के पास जाकर क्या कर रहे हैं आप लोग? Community CSR professionals. What is the point in sitting in front of computers and operating in this and then MIS and all those things? Go to the field. You will be there.
Yeah.
Of course, they ignore me. That's another matter. But my point here is the thinking that just like HR has to be with people, not in front of computers morning to evening, figuring out AO, mail, and all. You be with people, understand the pulse. Then probably your solution may be a little more closer to people as opposed to closer to computers.
Yeah.
That's why sales officers are in the field. They don't have place to sit. If they sit in the front of computers and start doing this, what will they sell? Nothing.
Correct.
So essentially, I tell this, people have changed because they're all from various businesses. They're not from background of this. They've changed, they're moving on. I make it as a practice, and for me, it's just a normal practice. I just go. It was Saturday, I just drove down to Mysore, Sohaldi, somewhere. I just went, I sat with the children, and every time I go any place, my style of working, there'll be at least 5 points to be noted. Everywhere, and these points will not be the usual MND, kya bolte hai wo format, fill up the MND format and impact. No, this will be from where I see this. Based on this, when I go back, I will make sure that there are multiple stakeholders, partners. They have their share to do something. My colleagues have some share to do. I said, look, did you see this? You missed a lot on this. You have never observed this. You all thought that by doing this MOU, this thing will be taken care. That's not how it works.
Correct.
I think that's the power of being there, observing there, and being part of it. Same thing with planet. I have 4 or 5 programs going on the planet. We are rejuvenating 8 lakes, 8 water bodies, big ones.
So important.
Okay. I said to my team, you all fine. How many times have you gone, seen? I said, come, we'll go. I drove down. I drove. Told them, come with me. We walked. We walked up the bund, walked. Villagers were walking with us. So when we went and saw there, many of the things at the ground reality, sometimes can have far more better interventions and solutions. Not that the NGO partner is not doing those. Essentially, when you see from outside, you are being much more closer to what your dream or vision will be much higher. And I think that's the power. And when we do this constantly, there is bound to have deltas of change.
And I think a lot of assumptions get tested, as well as a different perspective. So even if someone is well-intentioned and expert, but just to have a sounding board, someone...
And I do it immediately. Yeah. After when I came back from Tiruvannamalai, same day night, I sent out a 10-point report to and Shanti is my boss for this project. Yes. So I have to report back to her. So I sent a report. These are the 6 points, please make note, and this is how we do. And the interactions, there were many points which came up. I said all of them will action it. I think it's not to say that I am doing a great job. It's essentially to say when you are there, with the community, with the planet where the action is happening, probably your realization will be far higher, and your vehicles of implementation, whether it is an NGO partner or partners like you, anybody, we can make much more better, effective use of such vehicles and vice versa.
So in this partnership between CSR and implementing organizations, one role that you see is visiting with this intensity, with this perspective, reporting back, sharing your thoughts, helping sort of structure the thinking, whether it be on sustainability or community, or sort of having the human-centered design in many of these projects, and that what helps the partnership flourish, right, to ultimately have the impact, and however way that is being measured. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But let's keep one thing in mind. Partnership flourishing is for whom? It's for the community.
Yes.
No, it is for the ultimate beneficiary.
Correct.
Because that unit, n is equal to 1, that kid in that school, or that farmer in that field, it works backwards. Everybody else is a vehicle. Community is also a vehicle. If the parents or the a panchayat head or the district collector, they are all part of that community where they belong. If they are not involved in this, the child will be left alone. And therefore, if I have to go back to the point where we started the conversation about impact, many times, and including in the recent year also, I was not very happy. And not very, it's a very polite word, so you understand what I'm saying. The way the people start to understand impact in the market, because of this mandate, 1 crore you have to do the impact studies, come back and report, and everything gets jammed in the last quarter of the year. What for are you doing it? Anyway, next year it's not going to continue, or the project is getting over. You have to do something with it. The first question within corporates, they have to answer themselves. It has to be answered by the people who are mushrooming to do impact studies. Point number 2, many of the studies are now turning out to be third-party surveys, which is something puts me off. Third-party surveys probably are only 20% of the impact. I've had impact presentations happening. Still last week I had massive questionnaire designed, get feedbacks and then presented as multiple tables and columns and this and that. The first question I asked, is it a 360? They are wondering, "Ito kuch pagal ho gaya." I said, "Is it 360? Have you met everybody?" No, we had a chat with the principal. I said, "No, principal is probably still the second order hierarchy. It's the teacher. Is it the parent? Did you speak to Titan project leads who are doing this program? What is their definition of what you're doing?" People are not willing to take it, to chew it. Hard work, right? So if you don't do that and triangulate with what you have been doing in the entire project period, then whatever your study and impact will all be suboptimal. I know I'm very sharp in this point, and I would love to be sharp. I'd love to go public on this, because what happens is what you tell them comes back to you. You're supposed to have an independent assessment and understanding of what it does. If somebody comes back and then tells about your product and says, takes a MIS report of your MindSpark and presents to me as impact, I will rip him apart.
Point noted. So one is holistic, right? 360 degree, all the stakeholders.
Go there, reach there sometime.
Yeah.
And you have to triangulate. What is the triangulation? One is you are a third party doing all this thing. Triangulation is the whole year has been spent in multiple ways of monitoring, evaluation, assessing, auditing, so many things. Wealth of data. Many of the impact study people get the data and present it back to us. 40% attendance. I said, I know this 40% attendance, even from day one I know this. What is the new you are telling me? Yeah. That triangulation also is equally important. So you need to reach there. And mind you, I am still at a very basic level of defining this. And not even talking about SROI and all. Okay? I still want to recall that day when myself and one of my colleagues attended SROI workshop, but one of the big fours, I don't want to name them, 7-8 years back. We said, Jingbaz, we have to learn and all, a statistician, etc. All those in my thing came up. After we attended that session, the first decision what both of us took is, we will not go that path. Not that path is bad, but we believe that these things have far more impact in understanding the way we want to understand and probably make the difference. Maybe at some stage it may come. It's a good tool, no doubt. But is that required today, immediately? Do I want to know every 1 rupee where that 1 rupee went? Yeah, it is important from a governance point of view, but not figuring out, its ROI, and then therefore, in most of the seminars and conversations where I go, everybody loves to talk about 1 point, last year it was 30,000 less, so it was 1.5 crores, lakh crores spent, 10 years, all top 5 subjects, you name it, now it will be education, healthcare and livelihood, and the top 4 or 5 has never changed. It will only keep going in cycles at the most, okay, and the top 5 states has never changed. I'm saying, why are we even doing these seminars? Because all known facts, and there will be some 10 organizations who will be making reports out of it. Today it was one of the big 4, next day it will be somebody else, third day it will be on CII. No, there's nothing we learn. So in one of the major conferences, I don't know whether you were there, your colleague was there, I just went out to the stage and said, like, did not a single person, 1.5 lakh crores is a big money. Not one person spoke on impact. Okay? That was first point I asked, national seminar, etc. Why we didn't speak about this? That's what is more important. Yeah, okay, year 1, year 2. Second point I asked, and everybody loves to say this, top 5 states take 98% of the money, northeastern states don't get more than 1% or 0.5%, and they've been saying this for 10 years. I said, what stops all of us in this national forum organized for a national body to take a call next year 5%? 35,000 crores, 5% is a hell of money. Yes. To one northeastern state, it can change GDP of the state.
So what's preventing this?
That's because everybody wants to say, my domain, my territory, my CSR policy, and therefore moving out of that, people are starting to do that. I want to be honest about it, because now people want to take up causes which are national in nature. No doubt, we have done this from 10 years. So people are moving in that direction, but to get a cohort to actually influence this and make it happen. Did I do that? At least I've been voicing concerns. I'm also a failure. I also not done it. The same podium, my ex-colleague from Hosur was sitting. I told him, you and I never spoke about what programs we are doing in Hosur. And we are coming to national forum and taking hands and saying, welcome here, we're meeting here. This is the truth. I know Meenu for many years now. And we meet only in circles like this. Now we said, Meenu's forum is my problem. I have not done it, I have not done it. Should we do it? Answer is yes.
So let's say when it comes to measuring impact, one of the things is holistically, voices of all the stakeholders. What else is important, like in terms of measuring impact? How should we do it? What's fluff? What's substance when it comes to impact evaluation?
Some of the feedback and challenges over the years, this is just a 3-year-old story. Officially from the government to put out the impact reports and all, but good and well-meaning corporates have been doing this in their own way many years back. Like SRI, some companies were doing it, but they all did it more for optics. Use the word fluff, I am using the word optics, okay? And that only same case study will be there in any forum you go. The same girl or the same boy or the same couple or the same, your colleagues are smiling here, will be there in any forum, they'll be presenting that. Okay, nothing wrong about it. Huh? What's important is, do you have a holistic view about this program? Okay, just not get one sample out of it. Second is, don't start anything big fancy names and words. Are we clearly understanding at this point in time a very basic terminologies like what is an output, what is an outcome? What is the results you are expecting out of this intervention over here? Let's stay with that, make sure people understand that, and make sure you celebrate that.
Simplicity and
start that and make it constant across all your programs. Okay? This is a simple way. The other one is all SROI. Second thing, I think when you develop that, you start understanding the way you stay along with some programs. Like for example, Titan is in the second phase now. We have created our own model of 3 types of impact. Okay, one is transformation, second is deep impact, third is reach or touch. Okay, lives touched. So just to give a simple, just to a basic level of example and nothing to do with other projects. All projects are similarly evaluated, and we learnt a lot of this from Tata Steel, who are doing this for many years. Let's say we have a program on eye care. Okay, our eye care program is comprehensive. We work with multiple partners. That means we do screening, we do give them glasses where they require glasses, prescription glasses are not just one more glass, and then we also help them in cataracts. And our TG is very clear. The rural poor, government schools, very clear TG. And we've been doing this for the last 10 years. We have crossed 2.5 million now. Okay, that's one number for the purpose of saying every number is traceable. Point number 1. Point number 2, people who get their eyes, who go through a surgery, it's transformation for them, including a child. Because the child now can go back to school. Somebody who's not working now can start working. Transformation in their lives.
Yeah.
Second, everybody who gets a prescription glass to see better, they work and become better, they can be more productive. That's deep touch.
Right.
Third is, in the process of doing all these things, I would have screened 2.5 lakh people. Everybody has got that medical attention for that 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever we do in the school we screen. Now that's the next level of saying, yes, there is some change. Okay? Then you can make it more and more complex. What is more and more complex? Now that is where the optics and the fluffiness starts coming in.
But a good impact report would actually benefit the implementing organization to know what they can improve in the program. It would also sort of help corporates decide what is effective, what's moving the needle on the outputs, outcomes.
What changes we can make, what upgradations we can make, what to feel good about it.
Yeah.
Equally important. No? It's not just about what all things we should improve, but yeah, this is what it is creating for us. This is what we feel good about it.
Because there are scarce resources, right? Not just money, but also time, energy, and how can those be channelized towards more effective interventions as well?
Very true, very true.
You've spent more than a decade in this, but there are a lot of new young people who are joining the CSR teams. As you reflect back, if there's one piece of advice that you can give to CSR heads based on something that you've learned, what would that be for them to be able to jumpstart in their roles?
I'll give an example, a little less palatable, okay? When I was building my team and I was looking at my second in line person, he's an internal candidate. We saw many candidates outside, inside, and typically when we floated this, we got many CSR heads from outside, etc. Okay? And we tried to give in Titan people internally chance to lead such functions.
Yes.
Okay, there are 2-3 candidates, and I don't mind sharing this, who just came and met me before the interview or whatever. They applied internal. We had this internal postings, and a couple of them they said, "Okay, Sridhar, I know you for so many years, etc. You know me? Yeah, of course I know you." This was pre-placement talk equivalent, and they said, "Yeah, I spent now 30 years in the company. I just have 4 more years to retire. I was just wondering, this 4 years, I can do something in CSR, etc." I heard him, inside me, it was telling me something else, at least 2 of them. And, I want to do something in CSR because after retirement also, I want to do some social work and all. Yeah, great idea, good, thank you. Okay, and then, yeah, all the best, I wished him. And the first candidate, I did not interview. The messaging from the top has to be clear. If the messaging from me, he was a very good code, very best friend and all. After that, he came and asked, "Mujhe kyun nahi bulaya?" I took him aside one day on lunch and then said, "This is not a retirement position. This is not a parking position for somebody to figure out the last 4 years you come and do something and go. It's a serious position." Now, 80% of my team members are youngsters, both internal and external. The point here is, one is the passion what you bring to the table. It doesn't matter what age group. That is common. Second is also the ability to understand what this means, and it is just not another cheque-writing exercise. And we have today, other than me and Shanti, who are elders, everybody. I was 10 years younger when 10 years back when I started. All of them are all very young, including our people from outside. So, if you want to make a career, there's a wonderful set of things out there to do. And well-meaning companies, including Titan and many others, when you have something to innovate, something new to bring to the table, they encourage.
So one thing that CSR heads can do is first and foremost give this position and the JD the seriousness it deserves.
Yes.
And treat it like as a primary function, not as a
absolutely.
Secondary function.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you have to establish by being a role model.
Yeah.
who understands girl child, who understands the subject of how to deal with education, and more importantly, understand to figure out who are the best partners to work with.
And it'll be a complementary strength
That
to
is
what the
Titan's
partners bring.
strength.
Given the reputation of Tata's and the wonderful work that Titan has already done, I'm assuming you get thousands of proposals from different organizations for your CSR. What, between the people who apply and the people who finally get your money, what are some common things? Like, what do you look for? What makes the short list? You know?
One of the things what we have done in Titan, and these are all ever since we did CSR policy. If you read our CSR policy, like one very basic policy, it's not one 10 pages high, 500 and all. Okay, one of the things what we did, although it is not put in a number in the policy, we said we'll have an 80-20 rule. 80% of our resource, time, everything will go to some of the core areas what we want to do. Girl child education, skilling, crafts. 20% will go specifically for local causes wherever Titan is present, and we are a pan-India company. Right. There is no reason for me to say in Mumbai, Nanderi, I have a Tanishq retail outlet, which is a large format store which employs some 150 people. They are my company. Every large format store has a lot of numbers. There's no reason for me to say, if he is asking me, let's say I want to support this orphanage and please give me some 25,000 bucks. For him, that is the community. I cannot keep saying, no, we have a girl child education policy, skilling, and therefore corporate led. No. So that's the first step. And therefore, we encourage people in local areas to work with some local NGOs. It's a freedom we give. We don't put a bar saying that, other than governance issues. Second is also, you are right, it's just not me. Everybody in my team, everybody right from MD keeps getting this mail because, we have no right to say no to anybody. We have no business to say because it's meant for the community. But obviously, there's a boundary. There is a resource, boundary. And, by and large, we hear out many of them. And we try to maybe at least have some 20-25% newer NGOs, newer partners, very small NGOs and partners whom we support every year. So we are moving in that direction. But no, if I go back and see the mail since morning, I will have some 5 mails coming in from, from Jalpaiguri, or one from, some other place, or one from some Chennai or some Kasaragod asking for some funds. So obviously we can't, take up everything. Sometimes we don't even have the bandwidth to respond to them.
So what I heard is location is not a criteria, and it also empowers the employees of Titan working in remote parts. I did hear that you are encouraging new or young or small NGOs to sort of come, and you are rotating the portfolio.
So it depends on where. If there, see, for example, in Bangalore, there's no dearth of, I can keep going every location, every corner you have, but there's only that much we can do in Bangalore. So we, when I said 20-25%, it is across the company. If there are 4 NGOs who are coming in my Pantanagar factory, Bangalore won't get even a single new NGO. Now, I want to be clear so that your understanding should not be that rotation of NGO partners across the country. It doesn't work that way. Sure. I have a factory in Sikkim. When I came back from yesterday, I have only one NGO working with me. But there are some 10-12 people, and that's also a government NGO, working with the government actually. So actually in Sikkim, we are not working even with a single NGO. So I am actually encouraging them to come out with some local partners to do something over there, which is more important. So that for me is new NGO.
Right.
Okay. Now obviously, if somebody from Malleshwaram or somebody from Peenya will be writing to me, I'll have to say no only, or rather, So in a way, what I meant was that we have this 80-20 rule. We encourage, and at the same time also, as being the Tata Group and Tata Company, some fundamentals are certainly a no-go. I mean, go whichever way you want to see. Governance and ethics, very, very clear. That is a table stakes for us, because we know with a lot of clampdown on some of the FCRAs and things like what we have been seeing in the last 3-4 years, we also, and a couple of our partners also had got stuck in that. So we also want to be very, very careful that we don't want to be seen on the wrong side of law. And yeah, I mean, 99% of the NGOs are okay, but that 1% can give a bad name to some of the rest.
In this space, what do you see the role of the government? The role of the corporate and the role of the implementing partner. In your head, how is that pie divided? Who has to do what? What are the responsibilities of each of those entities?
I think what's happening in Titan also is many a times we are leaving the partner to go to the government and get permissions. We've been doing for quite some time. I'm trying to reverse that. Why should the partner go and do it? And you know, when the partners go and sit in the government office, they know how they treat them. It's not their job. It's my program. You should go. We're improving on that. I won't say we are there 100% of the time, because sometimes partners have better strengths. We have to acknowledge that. They know better connects than us sometimes. Okay. So that's the first thing. We have to inverse the pyramid, that we should upfront this and take the partner along with us. Yeah. Not to go and then put a letter over there, get permission and say, no, ye piche karega. Yeah. He is my colleague who is doing this. That's why he's called partner.
Yeah.
That we are trying to change, and that's what I think many people have to do. Some of them are doing good, no doubt on that. The second is, I think, many times, and I am 50-50 on this, why should we say that, what is the role of government? Why should we say that? What is our role in going to the government? Are we daring enough to go and then discuss? Yes, there will be delays. They will take time. They won't give you appointments. But as a corporate, if you can't do this is what I was challenged by last time. I have a good new committee member on my CSR committee. Like, if a Titan and a Tatas can't go on and influence and talk to the government, who else can do it? You can't keep coaching and saying NGOs will go and look at it and things like that. So government is doing and has done what it can. Okay, some nuances here and there will be, some irritations will be around. That we have to deal with it. We have to take the lead. We have to go as a conglomerate of people to say what we can differentiate.
No, thank you. Thank you, Sridhar, for sharing your thoughts on EI Dialogues. I learned many things today. I sort of...
hopefully unlearned also.
Yes, that's important. You have to create the space for learning to happen. But I think it was informative to sort of... you are underscoring the importance of listening to all stakeholders in designing the program, and that how all of us, whether we are on the CSR side or on the implementation side, have to spend more time on the ground, because that's when we have a richer understanding of the problem. We have a lived experience, and so before we come up with solutions, we are able to consult, interact, brainstorm with people who will benefit or be impacted by this. I also sort of understood how you've actually taken on the onus sometimes of success on both the corporate partner and the government, and not just hold solely the implementing organization there. I think impact is a big word, and there is a lot of ways to define it. There are a lot of yardsticks and dimensions in terms of short term, medium term, long term, and so it was helpful to know that this measurement of impact should be done in a holistic manner, in a 360-degree feedback.
And it has both ends of the spectrum. You have to start from very basic and simple, and people can understand. Yes. If you say the learning level has gone up, who in this value chain understands that? Okay. The people who make decisions will keep reading the SR reports and the NASER reports of the world. And when you say learning level has gone up in X place and Y location, they won't be able to connect at all. Yeah. So how do we make that TG to say that yes, even with this limited boundary of what we are doing, this is what makes sense. Build in huge amount of impact stories. Yeah. Impact stories should be visible, should be something which people will want to hear it over and over and over again, and that should cut across all the stakeholders. Don't just get that one girl with that ponytail talking about how Mindspark Grid was a great relief in my life, and put it on every single cover. I'm talking about Titan, okay? On every single cover and annual report, everything. Just make sure that you give space for the teacher to speak. You give space for your NGO to speak. You give space for the company to speak about it. You give space for that CEO or DO to speak, even whatever he speaks. Yeah. Makes sense. Yes. Then what happens, the sum total of this or the multiplying total of this is the impact. Yes. It's my view. Yeah. Maybe I stand corrected, but I would probably see this gaining far more visibility, and people will get that pulse quicker. Well, like I said, integrated village development in Uttarakhand, I have lot of metrics which are all daily process metrics. How much did the cow yield go up from last year to this year is one metric. But my putting that in my annual report, it may be good, a cow is fine, whatever, etc. But then telling that, like my fodder, the quality of that improved by this. Now, if I don't do this, the self-help group won't be able to make that profit.
Yeah. And I also feel that any form of impact can't be just one individual or one organization doing it. There are so many stars that have to align, and for that the contributions of many people are there, and hence the measurement of impact, or let's say the attribution of impact itself, is a collective that makes it happen. And this sort of brings it back towards from the design stage till the reporting stage. Every person's voice is important. I think in this work, we're doing it for the people. So every person who is remotely connected should be
correct.
done.
You're right. So you should actually bring out a publication of, now it's the third year of impact, mandated impact, no? 21, 22 it started, mandatory impact reports,
Yes,
yeah.
that's right.
Third year. So I mean, I presume everything is on the website. So you can actually filter out impact studies of, I don't know, whether all the places where, you know, your product stroke solution is there, and then actually figure out is that reflecting where I started and where it was. You don't even need to share with corporates. If you see only Titan, you will see only Titan. But if you see a 10 or 12 corporates who have put it up over there, forget the organization who did this, you will also get a feel of who did this and what they did.
Yes.
Okay, is this what, I mean, is this what my solution is saying? It may be surprising, it may be great, it may give you a lot of fun. I don't know, you must have done it, but I'm just saying. So in case you have done it, please share with us.
One of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDG number 17, actually says partnerships for the goals, which is achieving the remaining 16. And it's sort of been one of those things where there have been examples of collaboration, but so much more can be done, both on the implementation side, where complementary strengths of two different implementing organizations can be unified, but also on the corporate funding side, where there can be common causes that would be there, and hopefully we'll see more of that led by Titan in the coming few years.
Let's hope we'll try and do what we want. In fact, your Mindspark, when it was introduced in Tiruvannamalai, I insisted I should get a link. I insisted Shanti to get a link, and another colleague, Heyman. I told you first do it and pass yourself. Understand what it is before making a MIS report saying that learning levels went up, personalized study. All those things are good. That's all for us to speak in public forums. Do it yourself.
Thank you for also reminding us, in today's discussion that the CSR is a very valuable position, department, where young people can make careers out of it. It's not an afterthought. It's not a parking spot. It's not something you do to feel good.
CSR and sustainability. In fact,
CSR and
sustainability is getting applications like nobody's business today. People want to join, and in fact, the number of IIMs who are offering courses in sustainability and CSR has just shot up like anything.
And I think people are looking for more meaning and purpose in their careers, and these are fabulous structured positions in corporates that sort of allow for this. But for also the people who are joining these positions to do it with the same seriousness, the same intensity, the same drive as they would do in any other commercial function, because in this case also there is valuable resources that are at play, and it's sort of our duty to maximize the resulting impact of the efforts and the money that is being put. But overall, I learned a lot. I got reminded of the importance of people. I got reminded of the holistic nature of impact. I sort of feel equally that it is possible to have a very purposeful, meaningful career in this sector. So thank you for sharing your wisdom. And
Thank you for the opportunity.